Good morning, I'm Tanya from Keller Williams Oxygen. Delighted to be here having a chat with one of our great agents, Charlie Knapp. Morning,
Thank
Charlie.
you for having me.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So I wanted to start today talking about your journey, where you've come from, and how you came about to being a Keller Williams agent.
Well, I think most people won't know, but I go back a long way with you, Tanya, and I come from Savills. So I had a long... I was at Savills for about 10 years, and we'll be honest here, you brought me into Savills when I was fresh out of university. Fresh out of university, into the letting side of Savills. And I had a good time at Savills. I think I made, with the ability of hindsight, a couple of career errors there when I was moving offices and things. And then you approached me after you left Savills, and I'd say it took you, what, a year?
Yeah,
to convince me? A year to convince me, which...
almost to the day, if I remember.
Almost to the day, yes.
Yeah, it was.
I would say it's not about regrets, but if I had the opportunity, I would not take that year, I think, because I then, a year later, did make the leap.
But to be fair to you, I remember you were one of the very first agents I spoke to, and it was a completely new concept in the UK
It was.
at
It was
the time.
much more American back then.
Yeah.
As the whole concept of KW, UK did exist, but it was much more trying to change the language for an American thing. And, and it wasn't that bothered me. I just, I thought I was onto a good thing at the time. I was established there. I was at that time 9 years at Savills, but you got me. You wore me down,
Slowly
chipped
but
away.
surely.
Yeah.
Kept nagging.
Yeah, good old nurturing technique.
No, but to be fair to you, at the time it was a very brave step. And even when you did make the move, it was a brave move.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I would say that moment when, I did not, I had my eyes open. I knew what was coming, and there were things I was good at, things I was scared about. But when that moment where you go, handed in my notice, went straight on gardening leave the same day, and then that was the moment I went, oh my God, how do I actually...
What do I do now?
What do I do now? What am I doing? You look across at Savills or Chancellors or Jones Robinson, and with all these massive companies with all their backing, and go, how do I start? How do I compete with this? And then it takes a while to realise that you're actually not trying to compete with that. It's not the same. It's not the same at all. But it was good. I'd do it a year earlier if I could do it again.
Yeah, but even it's one of the big differences I've noticed, I would say, in the last sort of 18 months plus, is when you very first joined, this was a completely new concept in the UK, and even winning instructions was harder because the clients didn't understand or know what a brokerage type agent was, whereas now
it's growing.
It's become normal.
Yeah, growing exponentially almost.
Yeah. And, would you agree with that? Winning instructions in the early days compared to now?
Yeah, it was. People just didn't know it. Now, to be honest, at that early stage, the people I was speaking to were people I either knew or I had at least some kind of relationship with, and I could sit down and say, look, this is what I'm doing. This is why I think it's going to work. It was all about, we weren't trying to hide anything, right? It wasn't about trying to pull the wool over someone's eyes. It was about saying, this is why I quite genuinely want to improve the service and the industry and take it almost into the 21st century. So yeah, you had to get people on board with that, but really nothing on that score has changed. Yeah, the Oxygen, KW, everything's developed since then for the better, but the core principles remain the same, which is it's about getting on board with people and doing the best for them. So really that was no different. It was just people don't like change.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the big companies have been around a long time.
All the unknown.
Market share. Exactly.
Yeah.
The principles are the same.
Yeah. And whereas now it's become normal. You see, with many different brokerages in the UK, and so that piece has almost been...
Yeah, it's more normal. There's always going to be, I think, an element of people that want to go with a bigger name, with a brand, and there's enough for all of us.
Yeah, exactly.
And it depends on how you feel about your property and what you want to do with it. But yeah, there's a load now, isn't there? There's
it's
a load
just
of brokerages.
Different.
Yeah.
So journey-wise for you, obviously now you're at the stage, you've got a well-established business, you're doing very well for yourself. What would you have done differently to get to this stage?
So that's something I get asked quite a lot. It's actually quite an easy one for me. I would narrow my area down. I would nail an area, a local area, and I would hit that area, and I'd market in that area, and I'd get business in that area. Now, and that's what the most successful people that I've seen do this have done, almost exclusively. Personally, I'm way too spread out. I'm still more spread out. So I spend a lot of time driving. Yeah. That's the biggest change I would make. And moving forward, I'm going to narrow down rather than a local area, a property style and type. But that's what I'd do differently. I'd localise myself.
Because for you, you're a man with contacts.
I'm a man with contacts.
You are a man with contacts. And your business grew very much from your, what we would deem a database. But actually, it's your network. Yeah. And your business has grown very much out of your network. Yeah. With not so much focused on an area, more about, which is why you've become spread out. Yeah. But one of the things that is unusual about you is actually you've got quite a unique niche offering with the equestrian side.
Yeah. So that's sort of what I know and who I know. And I was never, at the beginning, I've sold flats, houses.
And you still do?
And still do, but I am doing more and more into that rural village equestrian market, because I think it's better to have a niche or focus on something that you're good at and people that you know. Yeah, my background is horses. Rest of my family's background is horses. That's who I know. It's what I know. I can talk about it. I can talk about what people actually need in an equestrian property, what they look for. I can get on board with a buyer or a seller.
I mean, the depth of knowledge for you in that equestrian industry is so deep. There's nothing you don't know about.
Well, I wouldn't quite say that, Tanya, but it's natural as well, which is nice. It's not. Look, there are a lot of there are other agencies that we do equestrian property, and I know some that I used to work with, but they weren't really equestrian people. They didn't really ride or anything, so it wasn't quite the same. But that's what I'm narrowing down into now more and more. So is focusing on that equestrian rural village side. Yeah. And it's lovely to do, right? I'm very lucky. I go to some,
and that's your world. So
I go to some fabulous places. Yeah. You make me sound very glamorous. I wouldn't quite go that far, but it's really fun.
We both know equestrian is not always glamorous.
No, it's not. It's not glamorous at all. And the other fun thing about that actually is there's a real mix of properties. So if we say equestrian on this podcast, people think big glamorous houses, and I've sold some yards that were not glamorous at all. They're mainly mud. Yeah, mainly mud. And but it's fun to go those and do that different side and keep my wellies in the boot of my car and go down that route.
And also from a client perspective, we've talked about this quite often, where we see equestrian properties being marketed by your standard agents, and that's not to say they're not doing a good job, but it's to say that it is quite specialist and it's targeting an audience. You need to have that knowledge and ability to bring out the things in the property that are going to appeal to your audience.
Yeah. And for me, it's providing the information that people want. So if you're looking, well, I know this because I'm always looking but at places like that, the first thing people will look at, they're looking for someone to keep their horses. How much land is there? It's never mentioned.
What's the size of the arena?
But land and equestrian facilities are the first thing people will look for if they're looking for that property. Because a lot of them, I mean, they do care about the house, obviously, but let's be honest, it's also secondary for a lot of people. And that's so many people don't, it's like agencies and people don't list that in the first details. So it's really annoying for people. So that's always the kind of thing where I will go, right, what is this buyer going to look for on this property? Yeah. What do they need to know that's going to get them to click on and actually ring me and generate a viewing?
Yeah, no, and I think that's really important. And I think a lot of people have an equestrian property, for example, they'll put it on the market with a, everyday agent that sells normal houses, and actually the key things aren't highlighted.
No, that's what I find.
Which is something you're very, very good at doing.
Just got to put yourself in a buyer's shoes, really, and go, right, what's going to draw people to this house? Yeah.
And then the other side of your business has very much evolved into sort of your classic village property.
Yeah, and that's something I'm developing on a more local scale, and it runs alongside the the glamorous stuff, as you call it, the prime stuff. But I like that side of it as well. Partially because they're nice to deal with, and secondly because there's more turnover in them. So from a financial and commercial perspective, it's easier to sell something for 500,000 than it is for 2 million.
Yeah,
there's more people looking for it. But that's I can fit into that vibe, if you like, quite well. And my house is like that. It's a village, little cottage.
Well, it's your. We've talked about this before, where like-minded people are attracted to other like-minded people.
Exactly.
So that's kind of where you sit. And for you, that rural property is right up your street.
Absolutely.
What have been the best things about building this for yourself?
I think, so the best things for me, I mean, people always say freedom, and it's kind of freedom, but it's not. I think the thing I like most is that I don't answer to anyone. Now that makes me sound like a real brat, and I don't quite mean it like that, but it means that I guide the direction of what I'm doing when I'm doing it. And I think having done what I now do, I would find it very difficult to go back into a scenario where that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
Yes, there's more freedom. I can do things, but the cold reality is that I work quite hard to do what I do.
Yeah, you do.
I'm on call a lot of the time, and that's fine. But I can, if I want to start early and finish early in the day, that's fine too. And I think, if someone came up to me these days and went, "Oh, it's time for your monthly KPI meeting," I would just be like, "I'm just not going to do that." I met up with some old colleagues from my last job a while ago, and they were sort of reeling off how things were going and the various performance things they were under, and I just thought, I could not do this again. My head would pop off. So I think a lot of it is that I guide the direction of what I do, and there's freedom. I go away, and if I want to do something on a Saturday, and then I can do viewings on a Sunday, or do things earlier, say, and finish early. It doesn't matter, and that's great. But it's more that control over my own life that I.
And also
enjoy.
The control of the direction of your business, because knowing you as well as I know you, service is your thing.
Yeah.
And you want to give your clients the very best service you possibly can. And that's not always possible to do it your way in a high street environment.
No, I just want to look, people are different. People have different priorities with different houses. Yeah. And whilst you've got to take it's about people. It's people. What do they say in KW? It's a contact sport. Property is a contact sport.
Yeah,
that's a bit American, but it's about people. It's about looking after people. And I think if you're going to do something like this, you've got to be people focused.
Yeah,
and you've got to look after them, and in essence, be privileged to work with them. People forget that this is the biggest asset you're dealing with for the vast majority of people. I think that's where people get frustrated with agents, and that it's a bit easy come, easy go, and you have to understand that these people, whether it's a one-bedroom flat in the middle of the town or a 40 million estate, to that client, that property is the same inherent value. Yeah. It is their biggest asset. It is a massive deal for them to whatever they do. It's got to go right.
Yeah.
And you've got to look after them. You've got to guide them. And don't get me wrong, I am, the expert in that scenario on it, and I will guide them to the best of my ability. And it's hard, and people don't listen, which they don't always do, or whatever. But that's just riding out the storm and helping them. But most of all, if you go with the perspective of, I'm going to help this person, I'm going to advise them the best I can and get them the best deal I feasibly can, I don't think you'll go too far wrong over time.
And I also think that when you're doing it for yourself, it matters every every deal that you're doing, every
conversation
matters.
Almost.
Yeah.
You can't. If I make a mistake, and we all make them, right? We all make them. Yes, I beat myself up for an extended period. That's a different argument. Different argument whether that's good. But we all make mistakes. But it really does matter. Each deal matters, and partially from a referral perspective or a review perspective or whatever, but more that I wouldn't do this if I didn't care about it.
Yeah,
I'm that way inclined. If I don't care about something, I just won't do it.
No.
I don't see the point. And for something like this, which is it's a big deal, right? This guides it oversees a lot of my life.
Yeah,
it's got to be good. Otherwise, I care. It matters.
And I think for you, what I love to see shine through with you is the fact that you actually care for that client, you know, and if something out of your control happens and the deal doesn't happen, it hurts you as much.
Yeah, of course. I mean, and there's two sides of it. Of course, look, this is not a charity. This is my job.
It's a business.
It's a business. I'm a businessman. So there is a financial aspect which is in property very punishing because the stakes are high on every single deal. But however much it hurts me if something falls through, for example, it doesn't hurt as much as it hurts the person who's just lost their sale.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm completely invested in everything that I do.
Plan A, Plan B, Plan
I won't
C
quit until I'm told to quit. And, you know, when the person makes it hard to see, I'll just keep going. Chipper, what can I do to make this work? Okay, everything's gone wrong. What do we do to put it all back together? You know, who do we contact?
So tell me, obviously you're running your own business. You've built yourself a great business. You've done some amazing transactions. Why does it work for you working with Keller Williams?
So there are obviously now a few brokerages, and I did know you, but, you know, again, the spirit of transparency, I looked at other options as well when you spoke to me, because I didn't know about it. It was something I needed to look into. I wasn't going to leap into it. It took you a year, right? I looked at a few other options. There were less then, there are more now. And I have kept an eye on it because in this world, people reach out every once in a while from a perspective, whether they're from, I can't think of any, but whatever, you know, they reach out and say, do you want to join Mr. and Mrs. Smith or whatever? There's the things I like about KW and Oxygen in particular. I like the training.
Yeah.
All right, and I think staying humble is really, really important.
Yeah.
You can really lean into the training now as well. You know that you're never too old to learn.
No, every day's a learning day. Every
day's a learning day, and you know, so I really like the training side. There's almost there's more training than any one person could possibly do. So you can pick and choose it and go, right, that's something I really want to learn or build or improve or whatever. And I like the long-term ethos behind really KW in general. I think more that one, the nurture. I mean, their whole main system is called nurture, and that's something I've really lent into.
So long-term in regard to clients,
relationships.
Great.
So if I'm speaking to someone...
With our agents and our clients.
Yeah, but if I'm speaking to someone today, or they go into my nurture today or tomorrow, they might not be selling for 3 years.
No.
There's plenty of those I've done.
Yeah.
Plenty of those that I've
Tomorrow's
worked.
business.
Yeah, I've spoken to them for anywhere between 3 months and 5 years, and then at some point they'll go, right, now I'm going to come to the market, can you help me? I like that side of it, that you can look forward and plan for a future, for the future, I suppose. So I like the training, I like the ethos of it. You know, I like the fact that there are some really incredibly good people that you can lean on, learn from, go and spend time with, listen to. You know, I haven't seen a brokerage I prefer. Basically, I have no reason to.
I think for me, the community and the
communities. It's full of like-minded-ish people.
Yeah.
Okay, we all do things differently.
Yeah.
Totally. There are aspects of. There are people I think are great, people I don't agree with, whatever. But we can all chat about, and it's healthy. You know, my way is not the right way.
And you take bits.
Yeah, there's some incredible people that I know I could learn a huge amount from. And the other thing that I like about KW in general is that you can do it your own way.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to be at every market centre day, make the most of the community, be a KW agent, you can do that. If you want to be very much your own local brand and develop that and stay quiet. You can do that. Then no one's going to say, you must do this, you must do X, Y, or Z, you must be in this area, you can't sell that there. And that's something that would be really important to me.
Yeah.
If the walls sort of closed in around me, I'd find it very difficult.
No.
You know, I want to be able to do it how I do it. Because because the nice thing is, if I was doing a rubbish job, someone would say, I was going to say you wouldn't say you're doing a rubbish job, but actually you probably would say that to me anyway. You'd say, but that, you need someone that can say to you, look, try this, do this. This has gone wrong.
It's having that accountability, and
accountability is the word.
Yeah.
To everyone, to myself, to my clients, but not for the meeting monthly KPIs. That's not accountability.
No. I mean, you and I catch up most weeks,
yeah,
and we touch base on where you're at and that is very much driven on what you want to achieve.
Absolutely. And I've said to you previously, yeah, give me a hard time if I'm not doing X, Y, or Z, if I'm not making my calls. When tell God's sake, tell me, put me under pressure, because that's what I need. But I spoke to someone a while ago that you'd spoken to, and they said, oh, well, do you have to do the calls? And I said, look, you do the calls if you want to.
Yeah.
No one's going to bug you over them. No one's going to say,
it's up to you.
Yeah, it's on you. It's what you need.
Yeah.
And again, if you're doing this, you are motivated. You're going
I'd like to think so.
You'd have to be, otherwise you just wouldn't. So you're going to want someone to say to you, hold you accountable and whatever. It's not, maybe accountability is the wrong word, because it sounds a bit punishing,
a bit formal,
but it's
and
like,
a bit,
guide me. Phrase it how you want. It's something you want.
I mean, I'll chat every week. We'll jump on the phone and we'll just review your stock and what's coming.
What am I doing?
We'll look at what's in your pipeline. And sometimes it just takes somebody with a different set of eyes to look at it and go, actually, you've got a little bit of a weak point here.
Yeah. Have you flipped the photos around? Have you done the basics?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And I have several people who will hold me accountable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I live with Nikki. She holds me accountable all the time. But that's really useful, because she's not an agent.
Yeah.
So she'll say, well, that client's, what if they're thinking this? Yeah. You're thinking like an agent. You've got to think like a seller.
Sometimes it's just taking an outside look.
Yeah, exactly. I find that really helpful sometimes, for someone almost one step removed to say, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And what's your plan for the next... Moving forward,
I'm redoing my branding and so my focus slightly. So I'm going to really focus more on the rural aspects, the country aspects, the equestrian aspects.
You've realised your niche.
I've realised my niche, and I don't think I said I'd change the local stuff, and I would, but I think I had to go through that period of, working with people, learning. From the ground up again, and now I found what I found. You
found your lane.
I found my lane. I've got people that will come to me now and say, I know you're doing this. Do you have anything? Can you help me with this? Which tends to be that kind of way. A lot of the rural rentals as well, or yard rentals, and that's what I'm going to lean into, because I enjoy doing it. Yeah. I'm lucky to be able to do that. It's my thing. I know about it. I'm good at it, and I'm very lucky to have it, because.
It's your network.
Fun.
I mean, your parents are both in the equestrian world. Yeah. Your mother taught my daughter to ride. Yeah. And, your whole family comes out of that. You're a very competent event rider in your own right.
Well, once upon a time, Tanya.
You still are very confident. Don't be too soft on yourself. You found your lane. Now make the best of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So we're just rebranding it and tidying it up and leaning into it. It's fun.
Well, I'm glad that I kept at you for that year.
Yeah.
Because...
Yeah, I have. I would say the only thing I would, regret's the wrong word, is I would do it a year sooner.
But I wouldn't regret it.
No, I don't regret it. I'm not too worried
You needed that time. And actually, by the time you joined, it had become more of an established... thing in the UK, and it's set to grow and grow. I mean, it's grown exponentially.
I mean, I've seen it change dramatically over the last 5 years I've been doing it now.
Yeah.
It's now very much, it's not an American thing, it's very much its own thing, and Oxygen's its own thing.
Yeah.
And, I'm lucky to be part of that. But it's changed dramatically.
Well, we love having you as part of it.
I love being here.
And thank you for joining us today.
Pleasure.
It's been great to see you as always. Thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing you all again soon.